So I want to talk about my experience this weekend. My experience of dissociation within myself, in my body, which I feel quite often. And I've experienced dissociation since I was little. Most of my life has been in a disassociated state. And I just want to talk a bit about my experience that I just had at the weekend, which I went even further into dissociation, which I haven't done for a long time. And I just wanted to share what I experienced. So the weekend I went to a car show in Cornwall. I took my two little ones with me, and I was meeting up with my boyfriend, family, and my friend and her little one. And initially I was very excited to go. Got there when I first got there with my little ones. It wasn't too bad, it wasn't too busy. Got there in a good time in the morning, just after 10:30. And I headed straight to the bikes because there was bikes there, so that's a bonus for me. So I headed straight to the bikes first with my little ones. Like I said, it wasn't too busy, and I was very excited to see everyone. As I finished looking at the bikes, me and my little ones went to go meet my friend. I wasn't quite sure what time I was meeting with my boyfriend, but I knew he was on his way. And as I was walking around the town, I hadn't thought about how busy it was going to get. So I was focusing on meeting up with people and just enjoying myself. I hadn't realised how busy it was going to be. So obviously, as the morning went by, more and more people piled into the town, and it was very, very busy. There's probably quite thousands of people just walking around. So just as I was going to meet up with my boyfriend, I also had a seagull. A seagull pooed on me. So I handled it well, I think, but at that point I was stressed out because I started feeling anxious. I had to deal with that situation, which I did deal with, and then the people around me, which I felt probably quite closed in. I noticed that my thoughts were racing because I didn't know what time my boyfriend was turning up exactly, so there was no control in that aspect. I felt I needed to know and needed to, because I was in a situation of lots of people, I couldn't control. I felt I can't control anyone around me. So I was trying to control the things that I was trying to gain control, because I felt quite out of control with all these people around me. So I obviously my thoughts went to, what time is he turning up? I don't know. So there's another thing that I wasn't sure of and I was out of control of, which heightened my anxiety. So I tried to focus on obviously my children, meeting up with my friend, which I did. I met up with my friend. I explained to her that I was feeling extremely stressed because of the overwhelm of people. Now, I started to feel very panicky. I then met up with my boyfriend and family, and I found it very hard to ground myself in myself. My thoughts were racing. I have my two little ones, the crowd's huge. All I could think of was I need to make sure they're okay. They are at an age that I can begin to trust them in the sense of they're going to stay near me, but I wasn't trusting it completely in this crowd because there's so many. I was constantly analysing where they were to keep them safe. Obviously I couldn't relax then and enjoy what was around me. I felt quite shut in and consumed by everyone else, and my thoughts were racing. because I was very much in my mind instead of the present moment, as in such of grounding myself. I was in my mind constantly analysing and looking. I dissociated from myself in the sense of the only thing that was going through my mind was my kids. And for some reason, because everything was very heightened, I felt the worry of something happening to them was even more magnified, because I was not grounded to know that I was safe. Yes, there's a lot of people around, but it's okay because I have others with me that also were looking out for them. And I wasn't thinking rationally the fact that they are, like, you know, they're with my friend, then they're with me, there's always someone with them. I was still in a fear state. So yeah, because I had disassociated from grounding within myself, I was very much in my head. This led to me to experience. I went to go and get some lunch in a bakery, and I experienced almost a full-on blown panic attack, because as soon as I walked in there, there's even more people in there. The queue was huge. I felt isolated, shut in, and because I was in my mind and I wasn't grounded, it affected me worse. I couldn't rationally think that I was okay, to breathe through it. I managed to buy myself and my children food, got out the shop, found some space. My kids were with my friends and my boyfriend and the family. I just took myself out for a few minutes. I actually did the grounding technique at that point, because I felt like I was totally out of control of my surroundings. I knew I wasn't grounded at that point. I needed to help myself, so I did the box technique, which is take a deep breath into the count of 4, hold for 4, release, exhale for 4, as in 4 seconds. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, breathe in for 4 seconds, and it just goes, it's like a box, because you are going 4 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds, and you're meeting in the corners of the points where you are pausing. So I managed to calm myself down, and I didn't take myself out of the possibility of a full-blown panic attack, because I was totally overwhelmed. I couldn't relax and fully enjoy myself. I took in a lot of the day, but not as much as I obviously wanted for myself. And I just kind of remember experiencing irrational thoughts of, I was analysing every single thing. I was on high alert, hyper focused, living in a flight and fight state possibly, and I was totally in my mind. So when I got home, this situation had a ripple effect on everyone around me, since some of them, people were trying to help me calm down, recenter. Some people distanced themselves because they didn't know how to be around me. So yeah, it does have a ripple effect on others. So when I got home, I sat with myself and I was like, okay, well, why am I reacting like this? I took some notes which I'd like to share. Just get those a sec. So yeah, I drew some stick figures, and I put myself in the middle as a stick person, and lots of random people around me. So I'm absorbing all the people's energies, maybe not so much all, but some, and going into my mind, I was feeling isolated, and I was feeling isolated within myself because I was disassociated and disconnected from external, and I was in my mind, so I automatically felt isolated from everything else because I couldn't feel connected. So yeah, I am there in the middle as a stick person in my drawing, and I have everyone around me, and I'm experiencing the sensation of floating, disassociation, isolated in myself, overwhelmed, lack of self-sufficiency. So I I'm not thinking properly. I managed to do the box technique that I said. However, that was one technique. I could have used more, but I couldn't get myself into that state. I wasn't grounded, obviously dissociated, and I wanted people to help me, but I didn't know how to ask for that help at times. Therefore, I was going through the experience on my own. Because my mind wasn't thinking clearly, I couldn't ask for that I wasn't communicating my needs very well. So, I felt like I was also scared to ground. That's another note that I put. I was scared to ground and be in my now because I didn't know. It's a sense of I couldn't have that control over everything happening around me because obviously everyone's different. There's people, tons of people, and I can't control everyone. So I was scared to ground because I didn't know how I was going to be in that situation with loads of people. So there's a scary feeling. You're disconnected from everything, disassociated from your body. You know you need to come back, but you don't know how to, and you're also fearful of doing that. So I was literally trying to navigate that whole situation as best I can, but the whole time thinking, where are my kids? Because they're my prey. So my role is to be there for the children. I noticed it when I was trying to, I've noticed in different times, not in this situation, but I've noticed where I'm disassociated and I do come back. And as soon as I come back to being grounded, I find myself having a massive overwhelm of senses. Everything's really heightened, and it scares me because I'm so used to being in my mind. When I come back into my present moment, I experience heightened senses of smell, sounds, light, my sight, everything's bright. The other senses, I guess, not so much touch, but smelling and the brightness and the sounds are all just really loud and heightened, and that scares me because I'm not familiar with being in my grounded state. Excuse me. I'm more familiar being in a disassociated state. So everything feels really heightened when I come back into my now moment. I knew at that point, the weekend, if I was to come back into my now moment, which obviously I wanted, but I was fearful of because there's so many people all those senses would be even more heightened. So it's like I had an internal battle within myself. I want to be grounded and be here, but I'm scared to be because of how everything's going to be possibly too much to deal with at that point. So I've put here, I was scanning the crowd constantly because I had a massive fear of something happening to the kids. And it wasn't until I was in a space where there was space around me, hardly any people, because we went around the back of the town, and I managed to just be able to bring myself back into the moment, because just for a few minutes, because I knew that I was okay, I had space around me, and it was just the people that I turned up with, and my kids I could see them clear as day, right there. It was, and then I went back into the crowd, and then I was lost again in the sense of I started to become disassociated. So it's the crowds. So I'm at the basis of trying to figure out why am I so scared to be coming into my now moment. It's not just through that experience, it's through most of my life. I live in my head quite a bit because I do feel safer there, but then it causes more anxieties. Obviously you're automatically, I notice that my body is, I am present in my body to some extent because I'm functioning, I'm moving around, I'm doing stuff, but a lot of the time it's in my mind more so. And that's where the fears are, that's where the anxieties are, that's where the worries are. And that's, unfortunately, if you choose to stay in your mind, you're going to experience a lot of you're just going to be in that. You're going to be in your experiences of lower energy, lower negative thought patterns. You're living in it. You're in your fears. You're in, and it's trying to learn that they're not real. They're just thoughts. They're not real. They feel so real. That's why you keep yourself not so much stuck, but you choose to stay in your mind because you're so used to being in the negative thought cycle that's what you're used to come out into the actual present moment and be here without any thoughts. It's a recently learned if you're in your present moment, you're not in your ego, because your ego is your thoughts. Your ego is the survival mechanism, and if you take yourself out of the mind and put yourself in fully, I'm on about fully in the present moment, you are not then feeding off your mind, which is the thought patterns of the ego. So the ego is fighting its way in the sense of it wants it to be there. It's fighting for its own survival in your mind. It's like it knows if you stay in your present moment, it's not going to be able to survive because you're not needing it. You only really need our mind for practical problem solving, and obviously for the safety aspect, but in a healthy way. Yeah, so those are the notes that I wrote last night, that I was just self-reflecting. I do that often. I come back from something, or something's happened, and I think, right, okay, well, what was that? What can I learn from that? Why has it happened? And what's my next steps? So, because I'm quite a spiritual person, I wanted to show you some of the stuff that I've touched on during my reflection, which is it goes into the spiritualness. I wanted to show you the Chakra book, which is from Hickler Books. I don't know if you can see Hickler Books. I'm not sure if it's showing you the right way around on the camera there, but it came in a magazine in a pack. So I had the book. I had a poster that came with it, which is I hang up on my wall. You can see going through all the chakras. And I had a pack of oracle cards, or wisdom cards they're called. Oh, sorry. So before I go on, I just wanted to read you a little bit about the chakras. Well, not, some people might not know. So it says, what are chakras? Chakras are energy centers of the body. A Sanskrit word, chakra, means wheel or disc. Each chakra moves with a spinning motion, forming a vortex. It is these vortexes that filter the energy of the environment around us and disperse it throughout our body. Knowledge of these energy centres is ancient, with its precise origins lost in time. It is generally accepted, though, that the knowledge stems from ancient Hindu teachings. So there are 7 major chakras. One enters the physical body at the top of the head, and the other 6 occur along the vertical midline of the body, with energy entering the body from both the front and the back. They are constantly interacting with each other, and they are no more separate from each other than they are from the aura. So yes. So the 7 chakras. You've got the first one, which is the base chakra, which is red. The second one is the sacral chakra, which is orange. The third one is the solar plexus chakra, which is yellow. The heart chakra is the 4th, which is green. The 5th is the throat chakra, which is blue. The 7th chakra is the crown chakra, The sixth chakra, sorry, is the eye chakra, third eye chakra, which is purple. And the seventh, indigo they say, and the seventh chakra is the crown chakra, which is violet. As you can see, all the way up. So, from my experience at the weekend, because each chakra is an energy field within itself, vortex. My experiences was coming from the first chakra, the root chakra. It says here that the root chakra is the base chakra. It's near this sacral coccyx joint at the bottom of the spine. Moves in a clockwise direction and connects to the physical auric body. So it regulates the lower back, coccyx, adrenal glands, blood, skeleton, feet, knees, hips, teeth, nails, rectum and spine. It's associated with physical stability, security, self-sufficiency and responsibility for self. Personal growth areas are connection to the earth and survival instincts. Now this is what I was experiencing at the weekend. I became unrooted through the dissociation, and it was because it's about the physical stability. So when I was in the setting of most people, I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel secure, and I was scanning around for myself and my kids for our physical stability, for our safety, and responsibility for myself, and because I disassociated, because I was feeling overwhelmed, I went into my mind. I was still watching out for my children, but my physicalness for myself, I was disconnected with the earth, in the sense of I didn't feel stable and secure over myself. So therefore my thoughts became quite irrational, in the sense of I was overthinking everything, and then my self-sufficiency, calming myself down, I was doing it a little bit, but not as much as I would have done if I was more grounded. So I experienced an unbalance of my root chakra. Just wanted to find, I've seen earlier something that is quite informative. So it says here in the book, in the book there's like each part of the chakras, tells you a bit about them. So it says here for the root chakra, if the energy of this chakra is depleted or blocked, our connection to nature and the world around us may be weakened. As a result, we are likely to feel spacey and ungrounded. So yeah, I did feel very spacey. I didn't feel like I was here. I describe it as like I feel like I'm dreaming. I feel very like, oh, is this real? What's happening here? I don't feel myself, very spacey, and less stable. So I didn't feel stable. In this condition, we may neglect our physical needs, and we may become unhealthy and weak as a result of this neglect. Now, it was a very short space of time for me, but I must note that I was focused on getting the kids their lunch, which obviously I did, and drink for them, but I just had some food. I didn't attend to my water intake, because I thought, right, I need my food. I'm guessing that's like, eat my food, give me the energy, but I didn't have any water. So there was a neglect for my water intake, which could have been a part of it. And it says if this energy is overstimulated in the chakra, we may become too attached to things of the physical world and place too much importance of the material wealth and possessions. We may be unable to develop the higher levels of our nature because we are afraid to risk losing these possessions. A miser, a person who is unable to enjoy their wealth for fear of losing it, is a perfect example of the energy of this chakra being out of balance. So yes, I experienced an out of balance of that chakra. And it says here the first chakra is the survival instincts. So mine went into overdrive, like I've explained. It says here the first chakra is about survival. Do I have enough food, water, money to survive? Do I have shelter? Am I physically safe? Yeah. Our strongest instinct is to survive. So until we are confident that these basics of well-being are in place and believe that they will always be available to us, survival will tend to dominate our thoughts and drive our actions. Now, when I was in the crowd, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I wasn't guaranteed and 100% sure that, my kids are safe, that I'm safe, because my thought patterns were in a negative loop. By the time I reached dissociation, like I said, I wasn't thinking clearly in the sense of, okay, well, I'm okay because I've got the people that I know around me, I'm watching my children, that's enough, I can relax in this environment. But my chakra was unbalanced, so I went, my energy just went high and unbalanced. So dissociation is not very nice. I experience it on a daily basis. Right now I don't feel like I'm 100% here. I'm probably about 80% here right now, in the sense of feeling grounded within myself. Now I think it's stemming from a childhood situation. I didn't feel safe as a child. And there's a fear of being here 100% in the sense of grounded within myself, fully feeling everything for what it is, for what reality is actually really like, instead of being in my mind. A lot of us are probably in our minds quite a lot, and are disassociated from ourselves. But it's not a very nice feeling, because a lot of the time I feel like I am dreaming. I'm not living my experience fully in itself, what it is, because I'm so in my head. It ruins a lot of stuff for me, because I'm like, I didn't experience that as fully as I wanted to. I'm learning to be more kind to myself, because it's just how I've learned to cope, because at a certain point in my life I don't really remember everything as a child, but there was something in my life as a child that where I needed to be in my mind, because I was too scared to be in the physical. As I said, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember much of my childhood, but it's stemming from, I know from a young age, because I knew when I was around about the age of 7, I used to walk around saying to my mum that things felt like it doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm dreaming. This isn't, why don't I feel like I'm here? Because it's that spacey feeling. And I'm trying so hard right now to ground myself. I need to ground myself more. And you can do that through meditation, just 5 minutes, just sitting with yourself, eyes closed, lying down, sitting up at night time. Quiet room, just listening, observing the thoughts, not attaching to the thoughts, just literally seeing them as clouds passing through. I'm not going to attach. It's okay. A lot of people don't like to meditate because they feel they can't get quiet in their head. It's not about getting quiet in the head, it's just literally just observing, hearing the sounds around you. It's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. I don't know if you've heard about that. That's finding 5 things that I read. So you're looking for something, 4 things that smell, 3 things. I tend to use the colour one. I don't go through the senses in that sense. I just look for 5 things that are green, 5 things that are red, 3 things that are blue, but people can do different things in the senses. 5 things that you can touch, 4 things that you can smell, 3 things that you can hear, and it just grounds you to your moment. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people out there that are living their lives dissociated from themselves, and it's a scary, isolating experience. But like I say, there are ways to ground. Listening to meditations on, I've started a few years ago, I downloaded the app called Insight Timer, and on there it's all free. There is things that you can buy into, but the initial app's free. There's guided meditations on there, and there's also meditations that are just literally listening to music at different frequencies, and they really helped me, which I'll talk about in another video. But yeah, it's just being there for yourself and recognising what your body is showing you, what's happening around you, to kind of figure out why you're like this. You need to to reflect on your thoughts, what thoughts came up at the time, how you're feeling in your body, what you wanted to feel like, because there's often a contrast, a battle within that you're not aware of. So this is a state of being that I find myself in that's, I want to be here but I'm not here, and that's resisting the present moment. Again, it reinforces the negative thought beliefs. So it's realising what you wanted out of the situation, what was actually happening in the situation, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and why do you think that could have been? Some people just they just don't like to be in big crowded spaces. But there's also reasons, there's always reasons why it's finding the root cause of the feeling and the thoughts. Sometimes you don't mind just accepting that. You don't have to figure stuff out, but it's just good to just know, just observe. You don't have to change yourself. If you're quite comfortable just avoiding busy places, that's fine. But if you're a person like myself that wants to be able to be in busy spaces full of people, but be grounded and secure in yourself and enjoy yourself and not worry about what's happening around you, these are the techniques that you can use. Journaling as well is really good. This is just similar to what I just said. You just write down how you're feeling, thinking, acting, your behaviours, what you wanted and what was actually happening at the time. It allows you to see, and then just sit and meditate. Some more stuff might come up. Those thoughts might be showing you things, or they could just be unhelpful thoughts that you just let pass, just like a cloud, like I said. Before I go, I just wanted to show you the other bit that I got in the magazine. This magazine I got quite a while ago, so I'm not sure if it's out anymore. But it came with an oracle pack, and in here, if you did want to work on your chakras and learn more about them, this pack's really good. But in here, you basically shuffle the oracle cards or wisdom cards, and I allow them to fall out. I normally choose 5, and I allow them to fall out, and I ask myself, what do I need to know today? And there's like a little card that shows you how to use the cards, what the chakras are saying. So if you pull a card that say it's like the 2nd chakra, it will give you a little bit of information there about what you can work on, in the sense of what this card is, the chakra is associated with, what it regulates. It's a little pack of information, but on each of the cards there's stuff that you need to work on, well, not need to work on, but you could potentially work on. So just for example, this one is the 7th chakra, which is the crown chakra, and it's brought up meditation in silence, which is quite funny because I just mentioned that. I sit in meditation regularly, as I know there is power in silence. I seek out stillness during some part of every day. In the silence I am open to receive without asking and without expectation. In the silence I will hear and see the truth. Rest, tranquility and peace are rejuvenating to my spirit. Miraculous emotional, mental and physical healings are available when I am open to receive. So it's this little information about the chakra. It's an indication of what you might need to work on if you want to. But I normally pick 5 for myself. Like I say, they just fall out when I shuffle, and I know they're the ones that I need to see for that day or whenever I do it. So that's a little pack that comes with the book and the poster. There's probably more magazines out there similar. You might be able to find the book and the pack online. So yeah, this is who it's by again. Hinkler Books. This is a little logo if you wanted to look out for it. But yeah, it really is really useful to, when you go through an event like I did at the weekend, it's really useful to turn to the chakras and just be like, okay, well, I can see that as my root chakra, that my root chakra needs to be balanced, through, like I say, through meditation or journaling, or breathing techniques. You know, there's loads of breathing techniques out there. And then you just work on it, work on your chakra, just be with yourself and balance your chakra. You can get, on the Insight Timer, there are chakra meditations that literally heal all your chakras in one sitting. And there's music ones as well, because I used to listen to guided meditations when I first started the app, but now I prefer just the music, to lie down and listen to the music, because the frequencies help tune your chakras, so they're balanced. It just goes through each one, but it's probably only about 20 minutes, 15 minutes of just lying there listening to the music, and you do feel a lot better after it. So there is a lot of stuff out there, and that's probably what I'm going to do tonight before I go to bed. You can do it any time of the day though, but it's just more relaxing at night for myself. And then you just choose to work on one or all of them. But yeah, it's very insightful to know about the chakras, how to help myself. I hope that's helped you guys. Thank you for listening to the video. Hopefully me explaining my situation has helped. I know a lot of people go through similar when they're in busy crowds. But yeah, I will speak to you in another video. Take care.